right? So check here next second module, we'll go with the configuration. So in general, remember after installing SQL Server, before making the server as a production server, okay, production server, we have to configure it here according to our requirement. We have seen while installation itself from 2016 onwards, we have more configuration options are there. Like memory we can configure, TempDB we can configure, okay, backup performance we can configure, database data file log file locations we can configure, okay. So backup folder we can configure. Like here various configuration options are there here from SQL Server 2016 onwards. Even like number of CPUs also we can configure. Okay, various configuration options. Right. So here see in this module we'll see what are the other configurations we need to do manually. We'll see here before making the server as a production server. Check here what is the purpose of configuration. We'll see first. So different SQL servers may have different configuration needs or requirements depending on how those servers might be used. So what are the basic advantages are there here with configuration? Performance improvements are there here. Performance benefits are there. Okay, means what proper configuration will leads to better performance. Proper configuration will leads to what? Better performance. Okay, downtime we can minimize. Downtime scenarios we can minimize here with proper configuration. Security we can improvement in the security. IR tickets we can reduce here. Incident request tickets we can reduce. IR tickets are nothing but remember production issues. Production issues we can minimize here. Okay, so then improvement in troubleshooting capabilities and RCA. RCA is nothing but what? Root cause analysis. Means we can go with here, we can do what is the exact root cause, why this issue is there. We can analyze very easily, root cause analysis. Okay, so these are the various benefits are there here with proper configuration. That's why indirectly we have to understand proper configuration leads to better performance. Proper configuration always remember leads to better performance. That's why configuration is compulsory for us. Okay, right, right. Yes. Check here what are the main properties here. What are the main configuration options are there as part of SQL Server. These are still like some main configuration options are there. As part of configuration, first always best practice, remember, we have to verify the installation. Whether installation is success or fail, we need to verify here first. If any errors are there, we have to verify. So to verify whether the installation is success or fail, we can use which file, Subbareddy. To verify whether the installation success or fail, we can use which file? Which file we can use, whether the installation success or fail, if you want to check. Yeah, summary, right? Summary.txt file we can see. Summary.txt file we can see. To verify what? Whether the installation success or fail. Yesterday also we have seen, right? Summary.txt file. Okay, so that's like yeah, summary.txt file is there here. See, to verify whether the installation success or fail. Yeah, I will show you once again. Yesterday also we have seen summary.txt file. Check here. I will go to C program files. See here, C program files, Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so then say version number depends on version number. 140 means what? 14.0 2017 version. 150 is what? Yeah, 15.0 version, 2019 versions here. 150. Open this folder, set up bootstrap, log. Here see summary.txt file is it. So by using this file, we can identify latest activity details. It displays here. Requested action uninstall, it is saying. Pass, it is saying. Final result. Yesterday we have installed 2017 version, right? In that we can go to 140, set up bootstrap, log summary.txt file. Here see requested action install, pass, it is saying final result. Okay, installation was success. Right, right. So like this, we can verify here whether the installation was success or fail by using what? Summary.txt file. Okay, right. Once, yeah, can you type your phone number? What we not? I think our friend of his team can type in the chat panel. Vinod, Vinod, can you hear me right? Please see the chart panel. Can you hear me right, Vinod? Uh, just type your phone number. Okay, right. Next, after verifying in the summary.txt file, verifying instance folders and services. In general, we have seen whenever we install SQL Server, internally some folders are created and some services are created automatically, right? So check here how many folders are created. We have seen previously. Let's say I will connect to one of my latest instance. Yesterday we have installed, right? One instance. Okay. Check here, I will right click here, disconnect. I will connect to another instance here. Browse for more, database engine. Last ones here. Yesterday we have installed this, right? 2017 instance, right? 14.0 version, 2017 instance. Yesterday we have installed. Okay, right. So this is like here see like we can verify here, see how many folders are created in the background, in which location this instance is installed. We can check here in which location this instance is installed. We can check here, see instance properties, root directories here, root directory, yes drives here. In MS SQL we have installed this instance. Copy this path, go to run. Okay, open this folder. See here, 8 subfolders are there here. Backup, bin data, FT data. See here, 8 folders are there here, subfolders. Main folder is there, MS SQL 14 dot. MS SQL 14 means what? 14 means 2017 version. Dot EMISPL is our instance name. In that here MS SQL is there here. So here see 8 subfolders are there. By default, remember, if I install only database engine, no replication, no other services, it creates 6 folders. If I select replication and full text filter service, 2 extra folders are created: FT data, REPL data, replication data, full text data. Otherwise, remember, only 6 folders are created by default. Okay, like I say, this is also called as a directory architecture of SQL Server. Directory architecture of SQL Server. Okay, so as part of like a directory architecture of SQL servers here, directory architecture of SQL Server is there here. 8 folders are there here. So now in this here, just here, backup is it. Backup is a default folder for backups. Means what? Whenever we take backup of database, automatically it is stored into these folders here. Automatically it is copied into what? This folder, backup folder. Check here, right now backup folder is empty. I will take here new query. Okay, let's say I'm taking backup of database just for testing purpose. We'll see later backup restore. Backup is nothing but, remember, one copy. Check here, backup database name to disk is equal to some file names here. See, I'm not mentioning here C drive or E drive or T drive, right? This master.bak is created in which folder? Master.bak is created in which folder? Backup folder. See, run this command, go to this backup folder, refresh one time. See here, master.bak is just now created. Okay, that is yeah, backup folder is there, which is created in what? Default path. Backup is created here in the default path, which is the default path for backup. So actually, remember, while taking backup, we can mention here in which path we have to take backup. But if you are not mentioning the path, default location is what? Backup. That is your first folder. Second folder is there, bin folder is there. Bin folder consists of your instance binaries. Bin folder maintains what? Instance binaries. Means instance exe and dll files are there. Main files are there in the bin folders here, binaries folder. Generally, we are not working with this folder. Why? Because instance means this, generally remember, this bin and install are called software folders. Software folders. What it's meaning? whenever we install, whenever we apply any patches, anything, remember, they are applied to these folders here, bin install. The same way tomorrow, if we uninstall SQL Server, okay, automatically remember these two folders are deleted. Only these two folders are deleted. Remaining folders remain same. This one, but these two folders are called as what? Instance binaries here. Instance folders or software folders. Then data folder is there. Data folder maintains what? Database files. Means what? Whenever we create a new database, remember, or whenever we restore a database, okay, automatically its files are created here in the data folder. See here, new database, some database name, see here, inventory, any name, just for testing purpose here. By default, every database has two types of files here. One is data file, one is log file. Check here, this is the data file, this is the log files here. Okay, yes, MS SQL. Here see data means data file and log file both are created in the same paths here, data folder path, default path. Okay, check here, open this data folder. See here, data file, this is our log files here. Database files are created here in the data folder, default paths here. We can customize all these paths. We can customize, we'll see later. FT data is there, full text data. We have one service is there, full text search service. That service uses these files, actually not required. Install folder, we have seen some installation scripts are there here. Tomorrow, for example, MSDB is corrupted. We can create fresh MSDBs here by using this INST MSDB. Like they say, like suppose tomorrow if want to configure replication between SQL Server and Arkill, so we have to use these install Arkill tables. Some tables we have to install Arkill admin. These scripts we have to run in Arkill. Then we can establish what replication between Arkill and SQL Server. Like this, like some installation scripts are there in install folder. Jobs folder is there. Already we know what is the purpose of jobs, right? Job is for scheduling purpose. Means what? To automate anything in SQL Server. Means what? I want to schedule backups. I want to schedule log shipping. All those scheduled activities are, we are creating here by creating the jobs. Then log folder is there, very, very important folder. Another important folder. Log folder maintains here error logs. Log folder maintains what? Error logs. Here, open this folder, very, very important folder. See here, error log is there. What is the purpose of error log, Prasad? Arun, what is the purpose of these error logs we have seen previously? Just remember any error in SQL Server, if there is backup fail, log shipping fail, mirroring fail, any error is captured into what? Error log. Yes, yes, both errors plus some information, both are recorded here into error log. Generally 100% errors are recorded. Some 5 to 10% information is also recorded. Next, we'll see the configuring error logs in detail. That's why tomorrow log shipping fail, mirroring fail, anything happen, first step is what? Checking the error log. Suppose let's say in your production server, like backups are failing. backups are failing. For example, let's say let's say you are calling to me, sir, backups are not working. How I know exactly what happened in your server, right? That is the reason. Remember, always first step is what? Check the error logs. In error logs, SQL Server will write very clear message. Depends on that message, we can plan for troubleshooting. Understood, right? Yes, very important here. Error logs are very important for us, right? Our regular job is troubleshooting. That's why regularly we have to work with what? Error logs. Understood, right? Yes. If any questions are there, feel free to type in the chat panel. Chat option is there with us. Please feel free to type in the chat panel. Okay, if any simple doubts are there. Yeah, right, right. This, yeah, everything following, right? All the people, Arun, Fahad, Lakshmipati, Prasad, Subbareddy, Vinod, following, right? That's why if any simple doubts are there, already have said, feel free to type immediately. So I will repeat again. Yeah, we'll see that. I will open the error log. We'll see what is there in the error log. We'll talk about in detail. Okay, right, right. Okay, yes. So check here, like, yeah, error logs are there. Let's say we can open these error logs here with Notepad also here with any editor. We can see here, see server startup events it has recorded here at what time the server was restarted. Okay, startup events. Then see like, yeah, so it has captured here complete information, enterprise evaluation edition. Okay, so uh, yeah, authentication mode, Windows authentication. Yesterday we have installed some registry startup parameters. Complete information it has captured here in this machine in my laptop. 32 GB RAM is there. Like I said, complete information it has captured. Plus, suppose tomorrow if any error is there, that error is also recorded. Just now here, here see errors also recorded here. Error number 18456. See here, error number is there plus description is there. Depends on that we can plan for troubleshooting. Just now I have taken backup of database. Backup details also recorded here. After that, we have created one new database. See, database creation steps are also recorded. See, like this here, 100% errors are recorded here. 5 to 10% information is also recorded into error log. Okay, that's remember always we have to see this current error log. We have to see. Some other error logs are there, error log 1, error log 2, error log 3, 4, 5, 6. Generally, here, one current error log, 6 archive logs or archive logs are generally created by SQL Server. 1 plus 6. Right now, we have 1 plus 2. If I restart SQL Server, one more log is created, 3. Restart again 4, restart again 5. Like this here, 1 by restart again 6. Up to 6 logs are generated. We'll see that again in detail. Next concept is here, configuring error logs. Here we'll see in detail. Understood, right? First point, we have to understand what is the purpose of error logs. We have to understand error logs are there in which folder, log folder. Always we have to read this first error log. Right. Next here, REPL data folder is there. Replication data folder. Means what? Tomorrow if you are configuring replication, one concept is there, we'll see later. Replication is used to synchronize the changes between the servers. Synchronize the changes between the servers here. Replication. Okay, so that's remember, like to synchronize the changes between the servers, we have replication option is there. So we'll see that again. So whenever we are configuring replication, automatically remember this database is this folder is used for replication purpose. Right. These are like various options, various folders are there. But remember, bin and install are called software folders. Means what? Tomorrow if you upgrade SQL Server, these two folders are upgraded to higher version. The same way tomorrow if I uninstall SQL Server, these two folders are deleted. If you apply some service pack or hotfix, only these two folders patch is applied to these two folders. Okay, so in the yes, these are like 8 subfolders are there. We can customize backup folder. We can customize data file, log file locations. We can customize the log folder. We can customize REPL data. All these folders we can customize. And we have seen that every instance has its own services, right? Main services are the two services we have seen. Select star from sys.tm server services here. Yeah, see here like SQL Server and SQL Server agent are our main services here. Instance name is there in the bracket, right? SQL Server service will process the user queries. Agent is for what purpose? For automation. We have seen like jobs, alerts, all these are executed by which service? Agent service, which is for automation purpose. Okay, SQL Server and SQL Server agent. See, queries are processed. Queries are processed by which service? SQL Server service. But automation is implemented by which service? Agent service. Okay, right. That's why in production servers here, both the servers must be always in running mode. Okay, in production server, both the servers must be always in running mode. Okay, both the servers must be always in what? Running. Both the services must be in always running mode. Okay, right. So yeah, then next one's here like configuring backup folder. Already we know default folder for backups is what? Backup. But I want to maintain separate folder for backups. Means what? In D drive or E drive or F drive, I want to maintain what? Separate folder for backups. Then remember we can configure different path we can configure for backups. Different path we can configure. Check here. I want to make this folders here. Here see in my machine, D backups one folder is there. I want to make this folder as a default backup folder. Just remember, after creating the folder, we can update this path in the server properties. See here. Generally, while installation also we can update, or after installations here, instance, right click on server name, properties, database settings. Here we can change the paths here. Right now this is the default path, right? So here we can change here default path. Okay. After changing, let's say, I will take backup of database again, just for testing purpose. Run this command, success. Now remember this master.bak is created in this folder here, D backups once here. Just now it was created, right? That is like a default folder path we can change. Tomorrow, suppose let's say D drive is full. Next, I want the backups into E drive. For example, just create the folder in E drive, change the path here. Automatically, next backups are generated into this new path. Automatically, next backups are generated into new paths here. Clear, right? Right. So the same way, like this is like how we can customize the default folder, backup folder, we can customize. The same way, we can customize your data file, log file locations also we can customize. Always best practice, remember, Microsoft is recommending maintain the database files in different disks or at least different drives. See, database data file should be there in one drive, log file should be there in another drive. See here, understood, right? Database files must be there in what? Different drives. What is the advantage is that why we have to maintain in different drives? Any benefit is there if I maintain database files in different drives? Abhilash, any benefits are there? Why we have to maintain the files in different drives? Arun, Fahad, any benefits are there? Why we have to maintain the files in different drives? Yeah, one is yeah, performance benefits will get correct. Yes, yes. Yeah, IO can be divided, right? Some IO into one drive, some IO into another drive. That's why remember, like IO can be divided. That's why we'll get performance benefits. Will get first advantage. Second advantage, remember, yeah, disk space issues we can avoid. Prasad is saying, right? Why? Because if all the files are there in one drive, then the disk may become full very fastly. That's why disk space issues we can avoid, performance benefits will get here, and data loss scenarios also we can minimize. That's why remember always it is best practice to maintain the database files in what? Different drives. Okay, best practice. Right. So let's say what I will do. I will create one, yeah, two folders I will create. Okay. Suppose here in D drive under MS SQL, I will create one folder here, data folder. In E drive, like S drive is there in my machine, MS SQL log. Two folders I will create here. My database data file should be there in one drive. Log file should be stored in what? Different drive. Okay, just remember while installation itself, we have seen it was asking the data file log file locations, right? While installation itself. Or post installation also we can implement this. But what is the problem is there? After installation, if I implement this option, what is the problem is there? We need to restart the server one time. Okay, we need to restart the server one time here if you are implementing after installation. Take care, like after creating the folders, next steps here, same thing. Take the server properties here, server properties, same database settings. Here we can change here. This is the default path already we have seen. Data folder is the default path for both the files. Now we can change here. See, Okay, right. Check here like the any path, just DMSSQL data means my data file should be stored here. Okay, IRS MSSQL log means first we have to create the folders. Okay, right. So here I have changed the path here. See, means just remember whatever the existing databases are there. Okay, so like yeah, so whatever the existing databases are there, those databases files are not going to change, right? Existing database files are there in same path, but whenever we create a new database now, okay, after changing the path, whenever we create a new database or whenever we restore a database, okay, whenever we restore a database, then remember database files are created into this new path. Existing databases are there in the same path. We are not, those are not affected. Okay, but remember whenever we, after changing the path, if I am trying to create a new database, see here it is created in the new path or old path itself. See here it is creating in the old path itself, right? That's remember after changing the database files path, we need to restart the server one time. For backup folder path, we need to restart or no need to restart. Just now we have seen. For backup folder path, no need to restart, right? For backup folder path, no need to restart. Okay, so but for database files path, we need to restart the server one time here, compulsory. That is the reason while installation itself, we can change this path actually. Yes, yes. Check it. Now, after that, I will restart the server, for example. Yes, yes. Right. So like this is yeah, database. Yeah, after changing here, if I create a new data after restarting, if I create a new database here, remember automatically its path is changed here. Like this, we can update here backup folder path. We can update as well as data file log file locations. Also, we can update after installation. Right. Next here, another important concept is that configuring error logs. Configuring error logs. Understood, right? Configuring error logs, already we know what is the purpose of error logs, we have discussed already. What is the purpose of error logs, we have seen, right? Purpose of error logs. Error logs maintains what? Errors here. Errors means what? Whenever any error is there in SQL Server, that complete error details are recorded here into error logs. Complete error details are recorded into error log. We have seen already. That's why error log is the main source for troubleshooting. Right? As a DB, our regular job is troubleshooting. That's why compulsory we have to work with error logs. Compulsory we have to understand very clearly about error logs. Right, right. We have seen already like error logs are there in log folder, one of a folders here, log folder. We can open the error logs here directly with Notepad. We have seen, as well as we can here see in the SSMS also we can open the error logs here. We can see here. If I go to SQL Server Management Studio, under Management we have SQL Server logs are there here. SQL Server logs are there. So here also same 1 plus 3 are there here. 1 plus 3 are there right now. Double click on this current log. We can see the current logs here. Latest events are recorded at the top. See here. These are the server startup events are there at the beginning down. So like this here, like we can see we can graphically, we can see the error logs here. The same way, like third option is that we can use SP read error logs here. To read the error logs here, I'm reading the current error log I'm reading, where we have 74 events are there here in the current error log. The current error log right now, we have how many events are there? 74 events are there here. Okay, right. So this is like how the error logs we can read. Understood, right? First option we can read from log folder of respective instance. Second option under management we can read graphically. Third option is that by using SP read error log. By using SP read error log, which log I am reading? This current log I am reading. Okay, or we can pass 0 also. 0 means what? Which log? Current log. If I say SP read error log 1, if I pass 1, remember I am reading which error log? Archive1 here, archive1. Archive1 or archive1 I am reading here. Understood, right? Yes, we can read here in the current log. We have seen 74 events are there. In Archive1, how many logs are there? How many events are there? 155 events are there. Like this, respective logs we can read, but always in general we have to see the current error log only to see the current errors. But why we have these many logs here? 1 plus 3 are there. But if I restart again, 1 plus 4, one more log is added. Like this here, how many logs are added? Up to 6. By default, remember 1 plus 6 logs are created by default. 1 plus 6 logs are created here. Right? 1 plus 6 logs are created by default. We can customize also, we'll see. Now remember, like, yeah, in general, see why these logs are there. Suppose here, let's say today I have started SQL Server. After 3 months, I will restart. After 3 months, I will restart SQL Server. Then what will happen here? This till 3 months, the events are recorded in the current log. Till 3 months, remember, events are recorded into current log. Okay. After that, once we restart, these current log events are flushed into one. Current log becomes empty. Just remember, whenever we restart SQL Server, current log becomes empty. Those events are flushed into which log? Error log 1. Error log 1 or archive 1 or archive1. Okay. 1 second. Right, thank you. Check here, like understood, right? Always remember, like we have to see current error log. What is the reason? Whenever we restart SQL Server, remember, after restarting till next restart, events are captured in what? Current log. But whenever we restart, the old events are flushed into Archive1. Current log becomes empty. Current log becomes empty here. Okay, current log becomes empty here whenever we restart SQL Server. Like actually flushing will happen. Right now here 1 plus 3 logs are there, right? Now once I restart SQL Server, error log 4 is created. One new log is created. Events of 3 are flushed into 4, 2 to 3, 1 to 2, current to 1. Like this here, flushing will happen. Whenever we restart SQL Server, events are flushed here from one log to another log. Current log becomes empty. This process is called recycling error logs. Recycling error logs here. Check here, let's say I will restart SQL Server one time just for testing purpose. First, remember agent is stop, then main service is stop. While starting, first main service is started, then agent is started, reverse. Okay. Okay, restarted successfully. Now remember previously we have 1 plus 3 logs are there previously. Now refresh one time. 1 plus 4 logs will be there, still have not refreshed, but if you see here 1 plus 4. Okay, so just before refreshing, what I will do, just I will refresh this error log 2. Previously, in error log 1, events are there up to 1042. Now these events will be there in which file? Okay, error log 2, right? Refresh one time, see here 1042. If you refresh this one, we'll get the previous log time. Here also see, once we refresh this one, we can see 1 plus 4. Like this here, again restart 1 plus 5. Again restart 1 plus 6. After 1 plus 6, if I restart, from error log 6, events are deleted. Error log 6, from error log 6, events are deleted. Means error log 6 becomes empty. Means new log is not created. What I am saying, after 1 plus 6, new log is not created. Events of 6 are deleted. From 5, they are copied into 6, 4 to 5, 3 to 4, like this here, current to 1. Okay, so like this, this process we are calling it as what? Recycling error logs. Recycling error logs. See, one option is there, we can recycle the error logs by restarting SQL Server, but we can't restart production server regularly, right? Daily or weekly, we can't restart. Compulsory client approval is required. So many steps are there to restart the server. Okay, so that is yeah. So next after restarting, but remember that's why what I want, without restarting SQL Server, I want to make this current log empty. Means what? I want to recycle the error logs without restarting SQL Server. I want to recycle the error logs. See here, option is there, as a DBA, we can recycle error logs without restarting SQL Server also by using SP cycle error logs here. First, we'll see in the current error log how many events are there. 70 events are there here in the current log. Then I will recycle one time. Once again, see in the current log, 11 events are there. Default events are there, means current log has become empty. The error log has been reinitialized. It is saying here very clearly. Compulsory these default events will be there. But where are that 70 events now? Where are the 70 events, Abhilash, now? The previously in current log 70 events were there, right? After recycling, yes, those 70 events are there in which log now after recycling? Yes, yes, error log 1, right? This archive log. And one more log is also added here. We'll get 5 logs. Now 1 plus 5. Refresh one time. Here 1 plus 5, one extra log is added. If I read this error log 1, this one archive and archive 1. So we have 70 plus 1 extra events here, 71. Means what? Recycling related one extra event is also recorded, 71 here. Like they say, like how many ways understood, right? To recycle the error logs, how many methods are there? 2 methods are there, we have seen. To recycle the error logs, we have 2 methods are there, right? One is what? One is what? By restarting SQL Server, we can recycle, but it is not possible. Daily, we can't restart the server. Second method is it by using SP cycle error logs here. Second method. Then by default, we have seen 1 plus 6 logs are created by default. But if I want more than 6 logs, I want to maintain old events also. In that case, remember, we can configure here. How many logs we need? We can configure. If we want more than 6 logs, we can configure here. Check here, click on configure. Once we click on configures here, limit, see minimum 6 actually, maximum 99. Let's say I want 30 logs I want, for example. This recycling I have scheduled daily. Daily I have scheduled this recycling process. 30 logs means each day one file, for example. 30 logs I want. Okay, just remember, once say 30 logs, immediately remember 30 logs are not created here. Still we have 1 plus 5 logs are there. But whenever recycling happen, one by one is added up to 30 logs here. Up to what? 30 logs, right? So by default, they are not created. So whenever recycling happen, one by one log is added up to 30 logs, 1 plus 30. Okay, right. So that is like we have to understand here how we can check the error logs, what is the purpose of error logs, how we are recycling the error logs here as part of SQL Server, and how we can configure how many logs we need. See here, how many logs we need. And one more option is there here, log file size also we can define if want. By default, error log file size 0 KB. 0 KB means what? Unlimited, not 0 KB actually, unlimited. Means what? Right now the log files are there in which folder, which drive, which folder? Log folder, right? Log folder in the respective drive. So till the space is there, it can increase. Error log can increase here till the space is there. So otherwise we can put the limit also here. Let's say like my log file size should be grow up to 10 MB. After 10 MB, it should be recycled automatically. We can define the size also, we can define here. Okay, this is like how we are working with error logs. Last point we'll see about error logs. Check here. I will take backup of database, some database to disk is equal to some paths here. Okay, backup success. See here, backup was generated successfully. Okay, check here. This backup details are recorded here in the current error logs here. The last, if I go to last, 2 lines are recorded here. Backup started, backup finished successfully. Suppose backup fail, MSDB1 I am saying, there is no database with the name MSDB1 here. Does not exist. Again, check the error log. Backup failure also, for failure also it has recorded 2 lines here. Backup success, it is writing 2 lines. For backup failure also it is writing 2 lines. Understood, right? Right. So that is like, yeah. So that is like we have to understand here. By default, remember, both success plus failure messages are recorded about your backup. Both success plus failure messages are recorded about what? Backups here into error logs. Okay. But actually, remember, we'll see later in backup restore modules in detail. Don't confuse anything. Backup details are recorded, success details are recorded in MSDB database also. Actually, in MSDB database, we have some system tables are there here. 5 system tables are there. In these tables, backup details are recorded, success details are recorded by default. That's why my client is saying backup success details should not be recorded into error log. Why? Because my error log is growing very fastly. Success details should not be recorded. Why? Because success details are already there in these tables. Only failure details should be recorded. Understood, right? What is my requirement is that backup success details should not be recorded into error log. Only failure details should be recorded. Means indirectly what I want to customize here. I want to customize what should be recorded into error log, what should not be recorded. But Microsoft has written what logic? Microsoft has written default logic to write both the details, right? Success plus failure details by default both are recorded into error logs by default. But as a DBA, we can customize anything by using something called trace flags. In SQL Server, we have something called trace flags. In SQL Server, we have something called here trace flags. So in this trace flag, remember, by using this trace flag, we can instruct SQL engine. As a DBA, we can tell SQL engine, you do this, you don't do this. See here, Microsoft is saying, okay, we have written default behavior, but you customize how you want. As a DBA, you customize how you want. Okay, to customize anything in SQL Server, what is there with us? Trace flags are there with us. Trace flags are nothing but some numbers, fixed numbers here, numbers. For example, see already in the soft copy material, all these trace flags are there. Yeah, better I think like who has not make the payment, better you make payment so that I will share all the people at a time, recordings, everything. Okay. Yes, thank you. Check here, like trace flags are there. I am enabling one trace flags are yeah, trace flags here. DBCC trace on 3226. One trace flag. This is the trace flag number. Fixed numbers here. It may be any version, any edition. -1 means global. This trace flag is enabled globally. Globally means what? For all users. Suppose I'm not saying -1. This is enabled for me only. For this session, 55 only. It is affected. So for other users, it is not affected. But as a DBA, if I say -1, this trace flag is enabled for all users. DBCC database console command. In SQL servers here, DBCC commands are there to enable, disable, to monitor everything here. Okay. Trace on, okay, I have enabled this trace flag. Once we enable the trace flag, again, I will take backup of database here. After enabling, backup success. Read the error log. Go to last. See, at what time I have enabled backup, trace flag, it has captured. After enabling backup, we have taken backup and it was success also. But see, that details, those details are not recorded here. Backup success details are not recorded. Means what? By enabling this trace flag, I am asking my SQL engine, you don't write backup success details into error log. Why? Because already they are recorded here. Backup success details are recorded here. We'll see later in detail. Backup restore concept, don't confuse anything. So backup success details are recorded here actually. Just now here at 11.5 backup we have taken. In which path backup is recorded, we can see here in media family, some things here. One more table is there. Here we can see the path. Default path we have said, right? D backups 1. In today's class, we have said, right? D backups 1 default path. That's why automatically it has generated backup into that path. Okay, we'll see this later. Don't confuse anything. Just here, by enabling this trace flag, I'm asking SQL engine, don't write success entries into error log. Only write failure entries. Here, if I say some incorrect database name, backup fail, check the error log, it is recorded. See here, recorded by default. Like this, how many, to see which trace flags are enabled right now? DBCC trace status we can use. See here, 3226 is enabled at global. Why? Because -1 I have used global for all users. If want to disable trace flag, again DBCC trace off, same things here. Trace on, trace off. Okay. After disabling, I will take backup of database again. We'll see success recorded or not. Recorded by default here, backup success. Like this here, like we have to understand, we can customize the error logs here by using what? Trace flags. Last point we'll see. To filter the error logs here, we can filter error log. Graphically, we can filter by using what? Go to management SQL Server log, double click on this. We can use filter option. I want to see a message contains error. Only errors I want to see. Apply filter. Okay. Here see some errors it is showing. Suppose message contains backup. See in which lines backup word is it? It is showing here. We can filter the error log like this. Yeah, 3226 is the trace flag number. Okay, which is used to avoid what? Backup success entries into error log. To prevent backup success entries into error log, we have used this trace flag. Okay, 3226. Right. Right. So that's why, feel free to ask if any questions are there. That's why I'm saying from the beginning. If any simple doubts are there, you can ask. Right. Now, sir, by using the command also we can filter here. SP read error log 0, 1. 0 means which log? Current error log. 1 means, remember, SQL Server log. Actually, here see, if you see under agent also we have error logs are there here. Same current 1, 2, 3. If I say 0, 2, see 0 means current log, 1 means SQL Server log, 2 means agent log. Okay, 1 means what? SQL Server log. Here second parameter. Second parameter 1 means will read this current log. Second parameter 2 means will read this current log. Agents log. Check here. SQL Server agent something it is saying. Okay. So then this was here. Then third parameter is filter. I want to see backup details here. Means here in these lines backup word is there, it is showing here. Means we have understood, right? 0 means what? Current log. Second parameter 1 means SQL Server log. 2 means agent log. Okay, second parameter. Third parameter we can use what? Filter we can use here. Third parameter. One question is there, what is SP? SP means stored procedure. Okay, stored procedures here. SP means what? Stored procedure. Okay, right. Understood, right? SP is what? Stored procedure or system procedure, which is a program actually. Right. So this is like this is see what is error log we have seen. What is the purpose of error log? Two types of error log. How to read, how to recycle. Okay, how to customize by using what? Trace flags. Right. Right, then we'll conclude the session here. We'll continue again with the next concepts.